Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 116 of the Self-Publishing Roundtable, the podcast for indie authors by indie authors, where we discuss today's topics and issues that matter to the business of the self-published author. I am your moderator, Wade Finnegan, and my co-panelist, panelist right now this evening is Xavier Granville.
Oh, hi, internets.
Mr. Liam Kingman will be here shortly. I've been told, and
Depending if his end of the country has internet or not.
We just diss Maine a lot, don't we? But look at that, right on cue. Here he is, and I have no idea where Michelle is, so we'll put her back on the back of a milk carton here pretty soon. Our special guest. A returning special guest this evening is the one and only Bryan Cohen. Hello, Bryan.
Hey, guys. Good to be back. Nice to see ya.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey,
for those that don't know you, which I can't believe they wouldn't, but if the case they don't, Bryan's done some writing, of course. Ted Saves the World, his series. Also done lots of nonfiction stuff. He's probably, in our circle, most well-known for his little gig that he does with Jim Kukral of Our Thirty Marketing Club. They do the Sell More Book Show, which, if you're not watching, you should be. Gives you lots of great tips and things on how to sell more books. Pretty catchy title, too, right? But his newest venture, his newest thing, is a program called Selling for Authors. It's a course. It's like a module type course that you can download, do, and we wanted to really pick his brain about it and how it's going. I know he's got a countdown thing going on and all that good stuff. So it's good to have you back on and good to pick your brain again, Bryan.
Yeah, I'm glad to have my brain picked. Like Monkey and Indiana Jones too. I wanted to get some kind of cool countdown clock, but like displayed in the back, but that just would have been too much.
So yeah, because like it's actually, I mean, if you're watching live tonight, you're in for a treat because it's under a couple hours. You said, right? It's
1 hour and 56 minutes from right now. I will close the Selling for Authors course.
Forever.
Not forever, but.
I was trying to make it more dramatic, Bryan.
Yeah, no, well, I don't want to lie either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Renee's like, Bryan. Well, she said Byron. Byron, your course better be good.
Yeah.
Well.
Whoever that Byron guy is, it
well,
better be good.
Rennie, it will be. No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm really excited with the response the course has gotten so far from the students who've been in it and from the just the painstaking efforts I've put in. I'm really excited about it. So I'm happy to tell you guys all about it.
Well, that's a good thing because that's kind of why you're here.
Yeah.
So, all right, why don't you just start off? Give us a basic description of it for those that haven't got a chance to check it out yet and those sort of things.
Sure. Well, it's called Selling for Authors, a step-by-step system for enhancing your blurbs, ads, and emails to increase book sales. And that's the basic. I think that too many authors forget that, oh, well, if my description sucks, it doesn't really matter if I got that book bub because not as many people are going to buy it. You need to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, your descriptions, the emails that you send to readers, and the ads that you put together. They all need to be as strong as possible, and that's what the course teaches you how to do. And it has a good system for each of those different kinds of things. There's 5 different areas: the descriptions, emails to book reviewers, landing pages, Facebook ads, and your email autoresponder. And there's a system for each so that you no longer have to bang your head against the wall. I actually tell you what you have to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it takes all the guesswork out of it. Is what I'm.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. People don't necessarily know what they have to do. And it's not what they have to do. It's just they don't know their system. Everyone's figured out their system, what you have to do to sit down and actually write your books. I mean, I was a pantser, and that didn't work for me, so I became a plotter and started outlining, and then I was able to finish 4 novels. Everyone has to figure out their system for writing books before they sit down and do it. But no one in the author sphere has really been like, here is a system you can use for writing an email. Here's a system you can use for writing an ad. Here's a system you can use for writing your description. And so now, this isn't necessarily the only way to do it, but it is a way to do it. And that can save time, it can save mental energy, and hopefully it can save some readers from leaving your sales page and actually staying on there and buying.
Nice.
Well, and I think like the saving time is the ultimate thing,
Yeah.
with any kind of course or education, it's an investment of time more than it is money. So you want to make sure that you're getting a return on investment. So any kind of education, you want to make sure that it's saving you that time in the end. So if specifically with copywriting and the things that go in hand with your course, these are direct things that do save people time. So that at least that is it's a strong selling point for the course and for any kind of course with copywriting, because it does have real turnaround results.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with all those topics too, a lot of like starting out authors are just scared shitless of like all of that. Where it's kind of, like we're focused on the writing and working on improving the craft, and that's what most of our focus goes into. And the other stuff beyond that just scares us.
Yeah, and hey, Liam, I didn't get to say hey because
because I wasn't there.
Because I was talking and there was no one. But yeah, no, I totally agree. And authors will do one of two things when they don't know how to do one of these copywriting things. They'll either throw it together in about 5 seconds and it'll probably suck, or they'll spend 1,000,000 hours on it and then nothing will come of it. Like, it won't be that good. Even though they've changed every word 1,000,000 times, they spent like 5 hours on these 300 words and it's still not selling, because they don't necessarily know what they're doing. So either way is bad. The only good way is to just kind of find a system, to find a way to actually do it. And it doesn't have to be my way. It can be your way. But, I mean, I came up with ways so that you don't have to think of ways.
Nice. Now, Bryan, would you say that by doing this in the combination, you have seen the biggest amount of change? Because I know a lot of times people will focus on like blurbs, right? I mean, that's a big topic we've talked about quite a bit.
Yeah.
And people focus on that a lot. But you rattled off a whole series of things. Do you prescribe to the idea that have them all coming together is what really makes the difference?
I think so. I think it's one of those things where the way that businessy funnels sales work is, if you improve any aspect by a little bit, you see that improvement at the end. So if, say, you got 5% more people to join your email list, probably leads to about 5% more sales at the end. That's just kind of how the trickle-down works. But if you improve all those 5 aspects by a little bit, then all of that kind of gets lumped in at the end. All of it gets boosted. So I don't think necessarily that, like, obviously you could write a blurb using the Selling for Authors system, and maybe it would improve your sales by 20%. But you could improve it by a little bit, by 5%, but then also get 5% more people on your email list and get 5% more people to click through your emails because there's more personal engagement there. And all those percentages kind of add up at the end to give you a nicer cumulative effect that usually ends up being kind of long-lasting.
Nice. Okay. What would you say to starting out, especially with a lot of our new listeners, what's the first area that you have them focus on when they're trying, because they got their book done and they're or maybe a couple books down, but they're ready to really start marketing and sales? What would you say is their first go-to?
Well, I have 2 funnels, and not everyone necessarily is going to know what a funnel is at this point, but you should. Funnel, you kind of start with more people. You usually giving them something free, or you just have a lot more people at the top, and then when you require them to do something or buy something, less people do it, because it would be nice if 100% of the people you got on your email list would buy your books, but that's just not going to happen. So I have 2 different funnels with selling authors, and the first one that I suggest people doing is gathering reviewers. So it's just the getting more reviews kind of funnel. And there are 2 things you need to do for that. You need to write a good book description, because every potential reviewer that you send a review copy, a review email to, you're just asking, hey, will you please review my book? You're going to use your description in that, and they're going to check out your book anyway. So you need your description to look good, because otherwise the reviewer is going to be like, this sounds like crap. Why would I review a book that sounds like crap? And they're going to get out of there. But I recommend people start with the good description and then work their way to writing a good email to reviewers. Because if you can start getting some reviews on your books, it's going to increase your sales, which can then maybe give you a few extra bucks so that you can kick in for the premium MailChimp $10 a month plan, so that you can then start with your email autoresponder. So I usually say book description and emails to reviewers. That's the first thing when you're starting out.
Nice. Okay. Excellent. Xavier, you got a next question?
For those that have already kind of looked into your course, they'll be getting the free kind of mini course with the emails. Did you want to talk about that as far as what all you kind of go over in there, as far as what your because that does give people a good taste of what you are offering within the actual full course.
Yeah. Well, at this point, probably there's not enough time to take the mini course before the cart closes. But
so maybe you could just tell
I'm happy
people
to tell you
what that
about
is.
that.
Yeah.
Because this is a whole system. This is actually kind of a good segue, because you need to create a system if you're going to do something more effectively. And so Selling for Authors has these systems on writing better descriptions, doing all that stuff. But for creating this course, I actually used a system. And so my system was from a course called Create Awesome Online Courses. And so I've been just calling it, my wife and I call it the course. So I took a course.
Of course.
Of course.
Oh, of course you did, yes.
Of course. And yep, that's usually how our joke goes too. So I took a course, and of course, Nick and Mark, who were the big course people in the author sphere in the last few months, they also took this course. So everyone's taken the course. I'm going to see if I can say it more and more times.
Of course.
Of course. And one of the big things about this is there's kind of a system to how you provide enough value to people so that they trust that the information you're going to give out in a premium course is going to be good. It's going to be strong. It's going to be worth what you put into it. And so I put together a 3-part free video series, which that's not going down anytime soon. People are going to be able to check that out forever. And it's a course, a mini course on emails specifically. It's about 6 different emails that you should send to people. And the first one is, like I said, to reviewers. And then I go into the first 5 emails you'd want to send in an autoresponder sequence. And in that course, I also talk about the system, one of the 5 systems that I talk about. Actually, there's more systems in the course, because I have all these systems. Elevator pitch system, all this stuff. But the 5 main copywriting systems I talk about, I spoil one of them in the mini course, which is for writing emails. I have a system called the Personal Offer Question System, in which you infuse an email with your personality, tell a little bit of a story about yourself, about your career. Then you have an offer in the first email, for instance, in your autoresponder sequence. Usually you're giving away that freebie. So your offer would be, click here to download that freebie. And then you have a question at the end to encourage engagement so that you're starting kind of a two-way relationship with your readers. And so that's kind of what the mini course goes into. I don't know why this is the, like, home run, he hit a home run of a course.
Circle the base.
Yeah. For those who are listening to this on audio, Brian is whipping his finger.
I spun my finger around in a joyous motion. And so, yeah, I basically, those are kind of the components that went into the free mini course. And I had a lot of fun putting that together because I think they're actually supposed to be shorter, but I ended up doing about 2 hours worth of teaching in between those 3 videos, and I regret nothing.
Nice. Now, are those on like YouTube or on your site, or where you house those?
They're actually on a website that I control, but I posted them through these lead pages, which are kind of premium landing page templates. And essentially on those pages, they are just and right now I think people can go to learn.sellingforauthors.com and they can actually get a cheat sheet and then get the mini course. But there's 1 video per page. There's 3 pages, and I kind of over the course of 3 weeks, I divvied it out to people on my email list that I'd been building up for a month and a half, and so yeah, a lot of people have checked them out, have commented on them, and yeah, I plan on keeping that going when I re-release the course with new content and probably with a higher price tag, because you got to be nice to your first people that come in, and not be like, yeah, now I'm gonna gut this by 20%. No, this is the lowest price it'll ever be at. But I am going to use those videos. Those will always kind of be my gateway into checking out the full course.
Excellent. Now, when you released your first few books, did you go back after you've learned all this stuff yourself and change some of the things that you did when you first released books?
Oh, I definitely have. I haven't gone to all of them because I don't know. Not everybody knows this, but I have like about 30 workbooks out there that are deconstructions of my original writing prompts books. And if you think changing a blurb on like 3 books takes a while, imagine 30 books. So I have gone back and changed a lot of the blurbs, especially because I had a book bub recently and on one of my nonfiction books, so I had to change that one. But it was so fun to kind of go back and look at the ugly. They weren't ugly and terrible. Fortunately, I've always been okay at copywriting. Gotten a lot better in the last few years since I've done it professionally. But it's fun to see like what you did, and then you kind of fix, tear it all down, build it back up. And so yeah, I mean, I had to make a bunch of changes. I still have some old autoresponders up that are bad. I mean, you kind of got to go back. Once you learn stuff like this, you got to go back and fix a lot. So it takes some time, and fortunately after this launch is over, which is currently in 1 hour and 40 minutes, I will have to go back and change even more and get everything up to snuff.
Excellent. Liam, I can't see you, so I don't know if I should cue you for a question or not.
He's raising his hand. You can't.
Yeah, I'm here. One of the other things that, like, my first experience with your work and everything was your 1,000 writing prompts and how you can move forward books and everything. Yeah. How has that been beneficial? What responses have you gotten back from those books?
Oh man, I mean, you the thing I had kind of lucked into with the 1,000 creative writing prompts books was I lucked into putting out something broader than I thought it would be. I didn't think there would be as broad appeal with those books, because I have that other book, How to Work for Yourself, which is a nonfiction book, kind of an inspirational thing, and that I knew was going to get a lot of people excited about it. It's already my most reviewed book by far. I just checked it the other day. It was 459 reviews. I do nothing to that book. It's been downloaded over 200,000 times. I really didn't optimize it that well.
Well, you wrote it.
I wrote it. I didn't optimize it for getting email addresses from it. I'm thinking, you know how Johnny on SPP wrote that Nobody Gives a Flying F About You book?
Mm-hmm.
And then he didn't even know what to send people to? I'm kind of in the same boat with this. I have no idea what to send people to. But that one I knew was going to have broad appeal. These writing prompts books, I think I just didn't realize how many people want to be writers, even people that wouldn't identify like us as authors. A lot of people want to be writers. They want to know how to kind of crack that creative egg. And so this book, which I have 4 sequels to, there's 1,000 ideas, mostly in the form of questions to kind of jog the brain, to get the brain going. And I've gotten responses from people saying, I took one of your prompts and I wrote a novel, and from one of your 1,000 prompts, I'm like, dude, I came up with that idea probably, I don't know, on the toilet or something. I don't even know. And you made a whole freaking novel out of that? That's out of control. And I've had like songwriters say that they really liked it for writing songs. Never thought to use it for that. People telling me, oh, I've just used it with my son who's too young to write, but we use it as conversation starters, ways to kind of practice talking, and it's crazy. I've gotten a huge response from those, and the BookBub I just did was on the box set, so I discounted the box set from $8.99 to 99 cents, and I think part of this had to do with an improved blurb, to toot my own blurb horn. I have a blurb horn, by the way. You can't see it. It's off screen. It's up there.
But he's got one. He's got one.
I've got one. Yeah. I'm not going to play it. It makes a really annoying sound. But
oh, yeah. I personally hate the blurb horn.
Blurb horn is the worst of all horns. It's the worst of all horns. So, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Okay. So, the BookBub, I moved about 5,000 copies of that book over the course of a week. And so people like writing prompts. Way more people than I ever thought would like writing prompts. And I've actually sold a lot more of my writing prompts books than my fiction books, because inadvertently I wrote books in a more popular genre than I thought it was.
Inadvertently, huh?
Yeah. Whoops! Oh, yay!
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Well, and I think that, it comes back to, like you said, everyone, whether you want to approach life as a full-time author, everyone deep down wants to be a writer, at least. Everyone kind of wants to be an artist. Everyone wants to be an actor, something creative, something fun. And that's why it's so important to be able to engage people like in that, because, art and writing, or all these things, it should be fun first, and then make a business out of it secondly. And if you're really good at it, making a business out of it is going to come very naturally. Yeah. So I think with the prompts, it's like you and I both have backgrounds with improv. It's like that. The ability to take a small concept and then have that yes and system of being able to play with it and go off and make your own little world out of it. That really works for people when they're just starting out, because Dinosaur Noir, that was based on writing prompts, but those were forward writing prompts: dinosaurs, cigarettes, aliens, and vampires. The book has all 4.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Hey, so Renee Kelly asked on the side, does the main course focus on blurb writing, or would you say there's one area that's more focused in the course?
So I try to do a through line with those kind of two funnels. So the funnel I mentioned earlier was you got your description and your reviews, your review requests. And then it kind of goes into the second funnel, which is kind of the traffic and email capture funnel. I call it the fans for life funnel. And you've got your email autoresponders, your landing pages, and your Facebook ads. So it kind of is pretty evenly dispersed over those 5, but I have there's 12 modules as a whole. There's one entire module on just headlines and calls to action, which are probably the most important aspect of copywriting and the least utilized by authors. So we've got the headlines and CTAs, and then there's an entire module on fiction descriptions and an entire module on nonfiction descriptions. So you could say that about 25% of the course has a blurb focus. But yeah, there's a lot of other stuff in there too.
Well, it's a 12-part, like 12-module course, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
there you go, 12 topics at least that you're going over.
Yeah. There's also a topic on mindset, the selling mentality. There's 2 of the modules are on the email autoresponders, which go through your 7 email autoresponders, and the first 5 emails you'd probably want to send to your street team. And I talk about how you start your street team. And then there's a module on Facebook ads, a module on landing pages, a module on networking, which goes into your elevator pitches and whatnot, and then a module on how to do all that crap I just told you in a week.
In a week?
Yep.
Yeah, I liked that part about the selling it during the 3rd video of your mini course. So you just you paused in the video and you said, "And I'm going to tell you it in a week."
Yeah. No, it's really awesome to be able to look at that and actually honestly, with a straight face, be like, if you actually do set aside, and I will say, writing your fiction or nonfiction during that week you want to write your copy, that's probably not going to happen. If you devote a week, you can do it in a week. If you're trying to write 3,000 words a day for your last bit of NaNoWriMo while you're trying to do the copywriting, might not be able to do it in a week.
Do you do all your blurbs and stuff at the end of your writing, or because I think it might have been Xavier that gave me this actually advice. Said write your description ahead of time, and that way you know where your own book is going. And I'm paraphrasing poorly.
Yeah, I like to pitch it to myself. Like, if I don't think that it's something that like I like to think of it like a movie commercial. It's like I need that in a world. Try to frame it as a selling point to yourself before you're writing it, because otherwise it's not an investment to time. If you don't think it is a something that, if you're not sold on it yourself, how can you expect to sell anyone else on it?
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think that's a cool way, a cool way of doing it. I think that, one of the reasons I became this course creator was because I'd been running my book description business, Best Page Forward, since June, and so with this business I've been writing book descriptions for other authors. And I looked at it the other day, and I've written 268 book descriptions for other authors since June. And
good gravy, man.
Good gravy, man. And I have read probably 2 of those books. So I don't think you need to have written the book to write the blurb. But I think it helps to have at least a basic outline, because what I get when I connect with authors, I ask them to give me kind of their existing blurb. I ask them to give me kind of a 4-act structure, which could be a sentence or 2 for each act. And then I ask a few key questions. I ask, what makes your book unique? So that would be the pitching part that you're talking about. What would your ideal New York Times review say about your book, and then I ask the 4-act structure. And so you could do that beforehand. You want to, you don't even have the book written, and you could know what you want the New York Times to say about your book. You know the adjectives you want them to describe it with. And I think that can really help you, but this is all part of your system. It's like, are you the blurb before guy system? Are you the blurb after guy system? Are you a girl? I mean, there are.
You gotta know who you are.
Know who you are. Know your gender.
Who am I?
Who are you? Yeah, I think once you find a system that works for you, you stick with it, you use it. And if it's not working for you, then you try different things. You try Xavier's blurb beforehand trick. You try other ideas because you need to keep trying something until you find what works for you.
Yeah, and I think that no matter what, like, even if you are going to be doing the blurb beforehand, I think that, like you said, if you are, especially if you're one of those people that don't adhere to an outline and your book does take a different form or shape in that second half of the book than you were intending to in that outline, then that blurb will definitely need some reworking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. And Kate Morgan has a good point in the comments here. BookBub, she says that BookBub writes their own book blurbs without reading the books. And I think they've actually done some great blog posts that I've taken a lot of ideas from, liberally lifted ideas from, and these are the kind of things they use to improve their click-through rates. Talking about how many 5-star reviews the book has. Usually, if it has over 150, that's a good thing to mention. If there's any quotes from super authors from publications, if it's historical, citing the time period in there, all sorts of little tips and tricks that you can steal from BookBub that you can steal from me because I mentioned it in the course as well. But BookBub posted those tips for free too, so you could go out there and find them if you really want.
Disclosure, yeah.
Yeah, disclosure. I'm all about disclosure.
Well, and like you're kind of getting at too, like a lot of copywriting and blurb writing is search engine optimization and keyword tagging. So if you do have a book with having no matter what a certain keyword that fits in with your genre, these could be key things that bring people towards your book. If you have, like in your case, Brian, with Ted Saves the World, superhero. That's a huge keyword for that series. Yeah. So you have to when you're writing your copy writing and your blurbs, you do want to make it something that entices the eye and easily to read and easy for people to make up that decision whether it's clickable. But also that search engine has to be able to see you as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's funny. I was looking because I know that I had a superhero thing in my series title, but I just looked and Amazon changed my series title into Ted Saves the World. It used to be a YA superhero adventure. I guess Amazon just felt like, nah, we're gonna change that. Okay.
What did they change it?
What is it now?
It's just called the Ted Saves the World series, which is what it used to be called. But I did not know that they did that sort of thing.
They got you.
They got me. Those jerks. It's fine though. It's just kind of funny that I noticed that live 1 hour and 25 minutes before I closed my cart.
Yeah. No, and I think that's I have noticed that Amazon is starting to rethink a lot of those things as far as the people were encouraging keyword stuffing and all these different ways to I wouldn't even say game the system because at this point what is gaming the system because I think the people that are going to even make any money off of what we can classify as gaming the system are only those people who will rise to the top for having something that's worth buying anyways.
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons why I like to promote non-gameable things. Like in my blurb instruction, I like to talk about not keywords, but emotional keywords, like the adjectives that evoke emotions from your readers. In the emails, I don't talk about necessarily improve your click rate 20% with this trick. I talk about personally connecting with your readers. Like, I'm not really that interested. I mean, I am interested. Everyone wants to improve things using some patented method. But at the same time, if you make these small changes, these kind of timeless changes, of course you want to connect with your readers better. Of course you want, when someone is reading your blurb, to have an emotional connection with it. These are like, duh, no-brainer things. But to this point, people haven't really put out a system of how to do that. And is this a guaranteed 10, 20, 50% change? It's not guaranteed, which is why I have a 60-day money-back guarantee on my course. Because if someone's like, you're full of crap, I'm like, okay, here's your money back. But I think that when people put these kind of things into place, they're going to make really great long-term improvements that do lead to more bottom-line sales. But, you know, you need to sit down and learn it first. And a trick that someone comes up with might not last for more than, like, let's face it, 3 months at this point, because Amazon's just going to change things. So you might as well learn things that are timeless. If I write evocative emotions in a description, yes, in 50 years, people will still feel something based off of that. Whereas if you make some kind of tweak, like a keyword, in 5 minutes, that could be kicked right out.
That's a great point. Great point. Well, how about a little bit? Let's touch on Facebook stuff. Ads. It's a hot topic for sure. And what? Not to put you on the spot, but what makes your module on Facebook ads any different than what everybody else has been saying about them?
Oh, of course, of course. Someone, just Renee was posting, what, you can't guarantee? I want my money back. You haven't paid anything. I can't give you money if you haven't. Okay. But I'm going to like that. Hold on. I got to like, we're live. So my module on Facebook ads, the thing that I think sets it apart from some of the others is it's a very copywriting focused approach. I do talk about the targeting. I do talk about the images. I even have a 45-minute long exclusive interview with Mark Dawson in the course. So I'm trying to get as much of his wisdom into the course as possible as well. And he has some nice advanced tips in there. He's obviously more of a guru at it than I am. But in my approach, it's a copywriting approach. So I tell you kind of, well, how should you actually sit down and write it? I tell you how you should fit things in. And my system, really, I'm not going to spoil another of my 5 systems here, but I do involve the fit, because what a lot of people don't realize is that you've got an ad and it looks different on desktop and mobile, and you probably want some kind of link in there in case people don't see the image for one reason or another, because Facebook mobile screws that up sometimes. So you need a link in there. But if someone has to click read more and read and click, then you're less likely to get them to do it. So you need to make sure your link and a call to action, something asking for someone to do something, happen before they have to click that read more button. And that's something I haven't really heard in that many places. Checking that fit, checking to make sure it works. And so I go through how to do that, and I go through what needs to happen before that read more. You can still have stuff after it. I mean, some people write like letters on Facebook that are like 40 pages single-spaced, but as long as you have a call to action and a link before the read more, it doesn't matter if it's 40 pages, because you are probably getting the action you want to happen anyway. And often I'll find I will write a post on Facebook, and I will see, crap, the link is below the read more. I will edit that post, make sure the link goes back above the read more, because I want people to take action on it. And that's something I do probably 3-4 times a day.
Oh, good sound advice. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Gosh, we're always about 20 minutes left. We're getting away from the course still just a little bit. When you're in your recent interviews and your show, and you and Jim do, what are some new things that you're hearing about authors trying to market their stuff?
Oh man, I mean, there's always cool stuff coming down the pipeline. I think Instagram is really interesting. I played around with Instagram and a booktuber this past month. Booktube being YouTube book reviewers, usually young adult. And I paid a booktuber to essentially review my book and talk about my book. And he has a huge Instagram he has 50,000 Instagram followers, 50,000 YouTube subscribers. So all these people are hearing about my book. They're tweeting at me. They're talking about the book. There's a lot of social stuff going on. And I think kind of that booktuber Instagram combination is really strong. And I think it's really something that especially young adult or even new adult authors can get a lot out of. I think that it's still, right now we are in this golden age of the Facebook ads, and there's a lot going on there, but people should try out more ads. People should go back and try those Amazon ads again, because now everyone stopped using them. So they're probably doing a little bit better than they used to be, because there aren't 700,000 people all trying it at once. I think you can do ads on Instagram now, through Facebook, through the Facebook Power Editor. I think people should be trying that. I think we're really in the age of paid traffic right now. Beforehand, we were always kind of looking for some freeway, and there's still people who will go through Facebook groups and just post the crap out of their links. I've banned like 10 people out of my Facebook group this week just from people doing that. So you really need to look at paid methods to get people to your books, because the free stuff just isn't likely to work anymore.
Flipping that around, what do you think people are wasting their time on and their money on, the things that aren't as effective as they used to be?
Social media. As a whole. Social media as a whole. I still get people saying, oh, well, how do I get my people who liked my Facebook page to join my email list? And I'm like, it's almost better to start from scratch at that point, because you're really just trying to squeeze a little more juice out of these people who maybe liked your page 2 years ago and they don't even go on Facebook anymore, and you're trying to get them onto your email list. I think that you need to stop thinking about social media as a way to freely connect with people. It's a way to generate paid traffic towards your email list and towards your book sales page. So I think social media as a whole is something people are wasting their time on. Don't post around to a bunch of free groups. It does nothing. People are looking for the magic bean when it comes to which email subscription-y company, like which BookBub Lite will give me the best results for my $10. Seriously, stop doing that. It's like, hey, have you guys heard of Book Magic Tracker? Have you gotten good results from that? I have seen that post 1,000 times in the last, I don't know, week, something like that. People post that on K-boards 900 times. They post that in Facebook groups 900 times. You're not getting anything out of it. Stop it. The time you're spending on that, you should be writing an email to your existing followers. You should be putting together an autoresponder. You should be sitting down just brainstorming for 10 minutes of something new you can do. that's how I came up with the multi-author Facebook events. I mean, I kind of stole the idea from Tim Long and not stole. I told him about it. But like, if I hadn't like sat down and listened to a podcast where there was an idea, like I would have never done a multi-author Facebook event. Never would have like gotten to meet people like Steve Scott and Jim Kukral, who I did a podcast with now for almost 2 years running. Like, you need to sit down and think instead of going on keyboards and asking, does Book Magic Tracker... I hope there isn't an actual place called that, because they would just...
You're going to get email.
I'm going to get sued for libel.
Bryan Cohen has a real hate on for Book Magic Tracker.
Yeah, that's the top story. Sell more book show next week. Stop asking if some $5 book service is going to get you success. It's not. So stop.
Well, and
do the work yourself. Gosh,
do the work.
What kind of guy are you, Bryan?
Yeah.
What is to work?
And a simple Google search now would show you that many of these people who have offered these services for $5 are being sued by Amazon. So maybe that's a good sign that it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, and those are, of course, the book reviewer guys, you know, so... yeah, I mean, those guys were always the bad.
Well, I think like I always come back to like the law of like of cheap, good, and fast. You know, you gotta pick two. You can't have all three. It's either cheap and good, but it's not fast. It's either fast and good, but it ain't cheap. You know, you have to think of things in that aspect. So, if I hate the term of like a once in a lifetime opportunity. If it's once in a lifetime opportunity, I never trust that person.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Carl asks a good question.
On the book trailers?
Yeah, I can't believe I said that Carl asked a good question, but yeah, what's your opinion on book trailers?
It's an interesting thing. So I've been playing around with video ads on Facebook, because I've heard some good things about them. And I think that you should consider trying them. Do I recommend you spend money on them? No. I put together something in Keynote, which is a PowerPoint-like program, and recorded it on my screen using a program called ScreenFlow. And I posted that to Facebook and got, I don't know, a decent amount of subscribers to my list for my course doing that. And it was just me dictating words that were on the screen. Now, will that be as effective for a book? Possibly not. You might want to be on screen for that. But could you put together a 30-second something, put it on Facebook, and make that an ad? Definitely. That is the only way I would use book trailers anymore. If you're posting it on YouTube and hoping to get people to go into it, that's not going to work. But doing it as kind of a brand building thing on Facebook could be helpful. So I think book trailers could make a comeback as a result. But don't spend a lot of money on it, because you can do things cheap now.
Well, and one thing too, like about Facebook now, all the video automatically plays, unless of course you turn that off or whatever. But I mean,
yeah.
I do.
You do turn that off. Huh? Okay, I don't. But I have noticed that they catch my eye more now that they play.
Yeah.
Versus me taking the time to click it. I mean, if it's something like, oh, that's interesting, or whatever. So yeah, that might be.
Click it just to shut it up.
And the sound doesn't play on those, but like that's one of the reasons why the text ones work pretty well, because you're like, oh wait, what is that saying? Oh, I better click it to hear. And yeah, it's really interesting, and I've heard some good things. This is why I recommend you listen to internet marketing kind of podcasts, not just self-publishing ones. Now, of course, listen to Self-Publishing Roundtable and Sell More Book Show. But
of course.
You should also listen to internet marketing ones. So like your Smart Passive Income, your Entrepreneur on Fire, your Art of Paid Traffic. These podcasts have ideas that we haven't used yet. that authors haven't used much. Mark Dawson's awesome course, which is very good. You can't buy it right now, but you can buy mine for another hour and 9 minutes. Because his is closed. But Mark Dawson's course, his Facebook ads, he learned Facebook ads probably from internet marketers. I'm sure he tried it himself, but I'm sure he did research to find out more. And the internet marketers have been using Facebook for a long time for advertising. And so if you're looking for the next big thing, it's not in that $5 to $10 Book Magic tracker that I think Carl said he just registered. Not in Book Magic tracker. You need to look towards something new, something that hasn't been done yet. And that's why I think a lot of people have jumped on the copywriting train with me as the conductor. That was terrible. But I think it's because people want to find something new that they can change that will get them results. And a small change in copywriting can get you results. So people are looking to find that thing, and if you want to try to find it yourself, then listen to these internet marketing type podcasts. I've already found my next big experiment to play with a certain Facebook ad strategy that, if it works, is going in the course later on, because I can just keep adding stuff to it. And the people who, of course, bought now would get that for, in addition to all the other good stuff. But you want to look towards those because you're going to find a lot more ideas in the future.
Well, I think it's the same thing as, to those that are reading fiction all the time, look into the nonfiction too, because like no matter what you have to be, as a writer and like you said, as an entrepreneur, you need to be taking in as many of these influences as possible. Listen to opinions and take them as such. Not everyone's wisdom is worth its weight in salt and all that stuff. But always be on the lookout for whatever is creating that much of a buzz. Find the people who know what they're talking about and listen, no matter what the subject is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like in the Instagram example you used earlier, it struck me right away because I was thinking, I can't remember where I heard it from, but the demographic of Facebook is getting older, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the younger generation is not using it nearly as much. Yeah. But in Instagram, and I thought, especially for a YA author, what a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And I think we're going to see that a lot more with with these social media things. Like it's going to become like almost like groups. Like their own little cliques. The people that like to type something that's minimum of 50 characters and get them out really quickly. Those are going to be the Twitter guys. Mm-hmm. But and I think. Ultimately, each of these social spaces are going to have their place in the larger scheme of how we kind of act as entrepreneurs and as people trying to encourage our own sales and profits. But ultimately relying on any one of them or thinking that any one of them, or even just relying on them all is. Relying on anything is not going to be selling your books. Ultimately, you are going to be selling your books.
Yeah, it's true. Krishan had a question about my railing against social media about, did I mean trying to get likes and followers versus building your email list. There is absolutely no longer any point on Facebook to get likes or to get followers on Twitter. There will be no net impact in your writing career. So no one should be trying to do it. And you should never run an ad or boost a post just in hopes of getting likes. There needs to be a strategy behind it. And then Carl asked, who is Kylo Ren? But he gave me 4 choices. And I'd seen the video that Carl had shared about how Jar Jar Binks could have been a bad guy in the prequels.
Yeah,
and how
frightening concept.
Yeah, a really frightening concept. But I think Kylo Ren is David W. Wright, to answer the question. D, final answer.
Now, is it the real David W. Wright or a decoy David W. Wright?
Or
Well, I
maybe
think
it's an Ewok in a David W. Wright decoy costume.
it could be. It could be. I like that idea.
Carl also asks, what do you think, Brian, is the single most important thing for an author to do in the current market?
Build your email list, 100%.
That hasn't changed for a while either. I mean, right? I think
It hasn't changed, and if you were listening to the Internet Marketing Podcast 3 years ago, they probably would have told you that too. So it hasn't changed yet. If it does change, I'll let you know. But yeah, it's about the list. It's about getting as many people as you can. I sat down with Ricky and her husband, whose name escapes me. I feel bad if they listen. Ricky, who runs Free Booksy and Bargain Booksy down in Charleston. And I was there. Oh, man, this was like Joanna Penn and Mark Lefebvre and Jim. And Jim was taking everybody out to dinner. And because Jim brought me, I was there. It was great. But one thing that Ricky told me was that 3 or 4 years ago, they were getting email subscribers from Facebook for like 5 cents or less. Like they were in when the getting was good, and they were like building their list so big from all of that, and that's helped them to really be one of the top 5 of these email marketing companies from getting in there. And I'm sure BookBub did this as well. And now it's like a little harder. It's harder to get those. I've talked to people who say they've had trouble getting nonfiction leads off of Facebook for less than $7 a lead, which
that's outrageous.
Yeah, that's outrageous. So I think that you have to really consider, like, how am I building my list? How can I do it? How can I get smarter about it? And often it's those internet marketing kind of podcasts that help you come up with ideas for that.
So are you trying different ways all the time to build your list then?
Oh, yeah. Just for this course as a whole, building up my list, I did a giveaway to bring people in. I did my multi-author Facebook event, March to a Bestseller 3. I ran video ads, picture ads, tried all sorts of different targetings, appeared on podcasts. I mean, I was doing a lot of different stuff. But there's still more stuff to try. There's always more stuff to try, and you've got to be willing to spend the time to sit down and try them.
That's great advice. I like that. It still wraps back around to the whole idea of treating this as a business, and I think it's something that, and we had this discussion not that long ago. Our authors get very scared of, but if you're going to sell anything and try to make a living out of it, whether it's something you produce or is off a manufacturing line, you gotta find a way to market that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world, right, where there's so much noise. I'd actually like to get you back on, maybe just talk about the email list more in depth. One of the things that I'm noticing too is I'm getting email overload a lot, and I'm wondering how we can combat that, because I think a lot of people are like, go through and do mass deletions just because. Yep. And so, but we are.
And I did like the system that you kind of laid out in the mini course, Brian, of because you can't be constantly sending one type of email. Always, you can't be this. I'm selling a book. I'm selling a book every week. Like you said, you do have to have, keep those emails where it's to the point where you're building a personal relationship with them. You're encouraging the relationship with them, and then you're asking something.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And if you, by the way, we're under 1 hour, 59 minutes until cart close.
Get on there, people. You can click over, buy it, come back, or
Sellingforauthors.com. So, yeah, I think that you need to mix it up, and you need to be personal. You need to connect. And if you don't, people are going to have a way easier time clicking the unsubscribe button. And it's okay if people do. This week, I had to send a lot of emails because I'm selling a course. and
it's almost out of time. How much time's left on that?
59 minutes.
Yeah.
So I needed to send out a lot of emails, and I did get a decent amount of unsubscribes. People saying, most of them were saying I get too many emails, like you said, doing mass unsubscribes. But also people saying like, I'm not interested in this, and that's great. Why would I want to pay for an email subscriber that's not interested in what I'm doing? So I'm cool with that. Like an unsubscribe, and Jim Kukral taught me this, an unsubscribe is not a bad thing. Sometimes you need unsubscribes to get to your core people. I had a list of close to 2,000 people for my Build Creative Writing Ideas list, and I decided I was going to just get 1,000 people off the list because my open rates were too low. So obviously there's a bunch of people that don't care about this. So get out. You're costing me money. Leave, go. And so I kicked them out.
As a good soup Nazi must.
Yes.
All right. Well, gosh, the hour went by fast, Brian. I love it when you're on. It's easy talking. So.
Oh yeah, I love it too.
And great advice.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
fair to Midland.
Trying to make you feel good, Xavier. Come on.
No, I think the course speaks for itself. I think people should definitely run over to sellingforauthors.com and check out more information on the course and read up on what Brian has to offer in it, because there's only 57 minutes left until the course closes. So for those that are listening to the iTunes,
Sorry. Brian,
Failure.
open it back up again.
You should have been listening to Sell More Book Show, because I talked about it a fair bit.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So if you just listen to this one specific self-publishing podcast, hey, maybe listen to some more.
Yeah, listen to more. Come on.
And speaking of listening, if you do so inclined, people, please leave us a review. We'd like to have those, right? Reviews are important not only for books but for podcasts as well. So take a minute if you would. And I know I won't hound Xavier because I know everything's up to date on the iTunes account and everything's good there. So basically,
Good
okay.
work.
See, so it's good. All right.
Or they should be once I get this episode up.
There you go. Brian, thank you so much. It is a pleasure talking to you.
Of course. And thanks for letting me celebrate some of my countdown with you guys.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Definitely. And we'll throw a little after-party link in the chat if anybody is willing to come on and talk to Brian for a few minutes. I don't know how much longer you have, but...
I can stick around for a few.
Okay. If anybody's got any questions they wanted to ask and all that stuff. So thanks to all the live listeners and all your comments and stuff. It's great having you guys, and we'll be back next week, so catch us then. Xavier, do you have anything to say?
Guten Tag, Internets.